can change. I think we're very afraid of change in life. Fear is a huge thing that seems to keep us from making any changes, desperately trying and wanting to be something else. I take people like this all of the time and move them from what they are sometimes to what they were supposed to be. And it's okay to do that. Because at the end of the day, what's really important? It's how we feel. And here's one of my other premises of life too. People think that life and career should be separate. When I go to the office, it shouldn't have to be feeling any sense of interaction with what I have going on at home. Can't happen. It always has the interaction. Everybody in this room knows that, if you think about it. You have an argument with your spouse or your significant other and you go into work, you're not on your game. You're worrying about the spouse. You're worrying about your argument. You're worrying about what life's going to be like when you come home. I don't blame you. I would be too. At work, it's the same way. Your boss gets on your butt, and you got to have this done by tomorrow, and this task needs to be completed, and you're worrying about that, and you walk through the door, and the kids run up to you, or your wife comes to see you, or your husband comes to see you in your case, perhaps, and what they want is your attention and your time and your involvement, and all you can think about is I've got this, this hammer coming down on me at work. So what does that do to relationships? It messes them up. One of the #1 main reasons for divorce in this country is the job. It's two things. It's because people are in jobs they don't like to do, so they are stressed out and coming home angry and frustrated about it, when what they need to do is produce change and move themselves forward into something that fits them and suits them better. And one of the other things that happens is they can't deal well with the stress, or they don't want to deal with the change. You shouldn't try to produce change in your life because change is going to happen anyway. You should try to produce progress in your life. Change is going to happen. I've lost jobs when I didn't expect to lose jobs. I've gotten divorced when I didn't think I was going to be getting divorced. I've had children pop into my life, which was a very joyous experience, when I didn't expect to have kids. I've had things change in the job front, the adoption front, all kinds of different areas of life. I'll give you a great example from 2 weeks ago. My wife and I are sitting up in our house watching a television show. It's 11:40 at night, and my wife hears this loud explosion outside our door. A woman, 43 years old, drove off of, I can't think of my road right now, but the name of the road, off of our road that comes into our neighborhood, across the yard at 45 miles an hour, no lie, smashes into my Hyundai, which then smashed into my Ford Fusion. She moved both of our cars off of the driveway onto my neighbor's grass yard in her 1-year-old Mercedes. And I'm thinking, how the heck do you possibly run off a road onto somebody's yard? She would have hit my house or my neighbor's house if the two cars hadn't stopped her. Coming out of the door, good news was she was walking around. So immediately my mind, obviously subconsciously, is she's okay, she's out of the car, she's walking around, she's talking. First question out of my mouth is, are you drunk? I mean, how could you possibly do something like this? Long story short, I probably fell asleep. And I do feel sorry for her. But how could I predict that in my driveway, parked safely off the road, two vehicles that I've only had a year and a half are suddenly now, by the way, totaled? I now have two cars 2 weeks later. There's no way to predict all of these things. You can't. All you can do is try to maneuver yourself in the best way possible. And so just an interesting story about how change comes. It doesn't always tell us when it's knocking on our door. The key is to do it early enough so you don't become my client later when you're really miserable. I can still fix it. I can still move it. I can still maneuver it. But it's much easier at your age to start getting on that path now. Life should be fun. Life should be lived with passion. Just a few weeks ago at the Hilton down here for an international convention with their financial gurus from all over the world on employee engagement. And they're all talking about what they're going to do when they retire. That was one of the lesson plans. They actually had everybody write down on a sheet of paper what they're going to do, and they wanted to have you share, kind of a sharing lesson. It was a cool exercise of what you're going to do when you retire. And I know I threw them a curveball because I got up and said, suppose you don't want to retire. Shouldn't you like it enough that when you go into work, this is what it is? This is the fun. This is the passion. This is the time. This is who I am. This is what I give life. This is me. And I get paid to do this. And it's a lot of fun.